the list would be in the minutes,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So when are the minutes going to be available so people can see the list?
Who's taking the minutes? I don't see anyone writing through it.
Right here, Charlene.
I'm always
The
there.
quiet one.
That's
Yes.
a simple. So when will the minutes be available? You said they'd be in the minutes. Well, if the minutes are available tomorrow or the next day, that's fine.
Well, there's draft
Right, they
minutes
have
and
to
then
be
they get
drafted.
approved.
Okay,
for
draft
next
minutes.
meeting.
Draft minutes will be available online,
We don't put draft minutes online.
so therefore
It
the
has to be
minutes,
approved by.
so therefore the minutes will not
It
be
could be,
available.
it could be by Friday. It can be as early as this Friday.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to clear my, that's fine.
Specifying if it could.
Could be, I know.
But the minutes don't get approved until the next meeting.
I know, but they, do not put them up as draft.
Okay.
Typically, the draft minutes are not final, so they really are inapplicable.
We have to let the chairman chair the meeting, please.
I never received the ballot.
She was asking me a question, Mr. Kratz. I was answering her question, that's one of the reasons why I'm here. Thank
To
you.
answer my question, where are the ballots?
That's
I
not
never
correct.
received one.
Who else? Oh,
Yes.
Mr. Martin back there.
Yeah, Martin Naboa, Building 22. Can you explain a little bit about the statutory basis for tonight's proposal? In other words, does the Florida condominium statute require the board to do this, or does it give the board the option to do this? And I agree with the people who say that this is an improvement over last year where there was literally a last minute decision to disqualify
Right.
certain candidates. At least now it's more than, or it's about a week out. So that is better, and I understand the argument that 90 days delinquent is a rolling thing, it's always changing. So whatever point in time you pick, if we had done it a week ago, some of these names wouldn't have been on it. If we had done it this Friday, it might have been a different group of names. So in that sense, it almost doesn't make a whole lot of difference at what point you pick it, as long as there's enough time to communicate with people before the election and give them time to come current, if that's a possibility for them. But can you explain, is there a statute that says anyone who's 90 days delinquent can't vote, and we're trying to enforce that? Or does the statute say that that's left to the discretion of an association?
Well, that was fine. Yeah.
Would you like me to answer that?
Sure. Please.
The statute was amended several years ago in an effort to give the association a better opportunity to collect assessments, and to basically give the association some teeth. And instead of only taking legal action, the statute gives the association an additional means by which to collect. And it is discretionary. There's actually, for someone for non-payment of a monetary obligation, the association can suspend voting rights and suspend common element use rights. So there's several options. The voting rights are important because here we are coming to an election, and the reason why it does come so late is, again, because of the rolling situation. So if it was 2 months ago, those people that are currently 90 days delinquent wouldn't have been back then. And those who were back then, many of them have brought their accounts current. So to suspend their voting rights back then really makes no sense. And the statute, again, is designed to get people...
I want to comment on that when I get the checks.
The statute is designed in order to provide the association with an opportunity to collect their money, and if somebody pays everything that's due to the association legitimately, then they're welcome to vote, and they have up until the time of the election to do so.
Did the statute say 90 days, or is the association just trying to be a little bit more lenient to people? In other words,
The 90 days is statutory.
That's
yes.
statutory.
Correct. It's statutory.
Wouldn't it have been better though, if 90 days ago, or 83 days ago, which would be about 90 days before the election day, a letter would have been sent by the board to those who owed money to the association.
Letters was sent.
And tell them then, if you don't pay within 90 days, you won't vote. That would have been the best way to do it.
Madam?
Hi, Debbie from Building 15. Understanding 718 and the rules, and we need to keep the coffers full. I get that because it's my money just as much as it's everybody else's in the room. But what I morally object to is the first letter went out, the ballots went out, and there was no mention of, it should have went to everybody, not just those who are on the 90-day list, but to every unit owner that said you could potentially lose your right to vote if you are 90 days or more in arrears. And it's just a point that here you are, 7 days or 8 days before election,
7.
and understanding that, yes, there's big money there and you've been chasing it, I get that, but it's just a moral issue that there's not enough time, and there was no notification to any of us about this happening. It should have been in the first letter notification, and there should have been a note in the ballots that said you could lose your rights.
I agree with that. I agree you guys should get your money, but you guys should at least give it 90 days, not 5 days before election or a week before, that's what I'm saying.
People don't know they have bills to pay. I mean, it's not, people don't know they have bills to pay.
I know, it's
You have
just.
to be reminded to pay bills. I don't know.
I thank you, Mr. Messina, and the board for giving me an opportunity to address the issue. There was a statement of Abraham Lincoln that the most important goal for a lawyer is to be a peacemaker. And I hope I can serve that purpose here tonight. The disqualification of voters in this context is legally and morally wrong. On October 15, 2014, the auditors for the 2013 financial statements disclaimed because of record-keeping inadequacies. Second, on July 22nd, 2015, a warning letter and citation was issued by the DBPR with respect to inadequate record keeping. My wife had a check that was issued in October. It's important. It's important because what the 718 requires is that the records be made and maintained in a regular, accurate fashion, but they haven't been. All right, and the proof is compelling. Let me just give me an opportunity to finish. There were instances, and my wife experienced it, where checks were rejected because of so-called restrictive endorsements. That was a matter of law, they weren't restrictive endorsements. So here's what I recommend. And I was speaking to Mr. Shendell, and I don't think this is too far away from what he previously said. I recommend that you disqualify, you defer disqualification until after the election, where proof of payment or non-payment can be more carefully reviewed. You have inadequate records, you had a disclaimer, the financial statements for 2014, I didn't see any reference in there to the correction of the inadequacies of the prior year. You don't have to count that vote if the proof doesn't substantiate that there was in fact a payment. But in view of the fact that there were instances where checks weren't deposited or they were deposited 6 or 7 months later, you have an inherently flawed record-keeping system. So in that context, I don't think you should, nor do you have a right to disqualify anybody. And you won't be prejudiced because if they didn't pay and you have records, okay, and they can't show you they paid after the election, you don't have to count their vote.
But there's a secret ballot in the envelopes, and I don't know
it is.
whose vote that we're gonna cancel or discard. The secret ballots, we get it before that. Yeah.
My understanding, their name is on an envelope.
The outside on
The outside, pull the outside
Thank you for your
envelope until you
comments.
verify it, and then
Any
open
other
the
questions?
envelopes.
Comments, please?
Yes, I agree with you.
Not rocket science.
You can't count or disqualify a vote because it's a secret ballot. And once it goes into the box, no name, no nothing is shown on it.
Okay. But how do you get, let me ask you a question. How can we make peace here? How can we,
I have a suggestion.
let's hear it.
I think it's a very good one for everybody. This is new for everybody also, what we're talking about now this year. But a lot of people know that we're talking about this, and a lot of people know that some of them are they're for it, some of them are not. Whatever. Can't we postpone this decision that you want to take this year? And next year, you can adopt it 90 days before and send a notice to everybody
I think
90
the
days
best
before.
solution, really.
We wouldn't be
Postpone
stuck,
the
we
election.
wouldn't be stuck with the problem we have
Push
now.
the election
People
back
won't
6
even
months.
know. People will send a vote, and
My
people will send a
what
vote.
happens, you're like about to have a heart attack and postpone everything, I don't get it.
The way it works now, people will be, a lot of people will send their votes by mail, and they won't be counted.
If anyone-
And they won't even know that they didn't do it.
I was just gonna say, if there's anyone else in the room who heard their unit, I'll be more than happy to stay after and discuss with you so you can get it all, we can get it all cleared up. So I'm not sure, sir, if you're on the list or not, if you're talking for just.
I know I'm not.
Okay. So anyways.
I'm talking for everybody.
Anybody who has anything new?
Joyce?
Excuse me. If we are all paying what we are supposed to pay, when we are supposed to pay it, why should we have to give the other people the right to vote when they knew they were in arrears